Picture a marketplace in first-century Jerusalem. Jesus is walking with 3 of his disciples, not the 12. 3. Peter, John, and Mary Magdalene. They pass a metalworker's stall, and Jesus stops. He picks up a small piece of metal, turns it over in his hand, and says something that would be intentionally mistranslated for 2,000 years. Whoever has this on their left side walks in the shadow the archons cannot see. That teaching never made it into your Bible. It was removed by the same councils that decided which books you were allowed to read and which had to be destroyed. And the reason is simple. If people knew that protection from Archonic interference was this accessible, this physical, this immediate, they would never need the institutional church to save them. Right now, before we go any further, subscribe to this channel. What you are about to learn has been actively suppressed, and videos like this disappear from recommendations all the time. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications because the teachings coming after this one go even deeper. 16 centuries after that conversation in Jerusalem, a Coptic manuscript surfaced in a private collection in Cairo. It had no official name. Scholars simply called it the Codex of the Left Hand. And buried in its pages was an entire system that Jesus taught about metal, frequency, and the human energy field. Specifically, one metal that, when worn correctly, creates a field of disruption that archonic frequencies cannot penetrate. If something pulled you to this video tonight, if you have been searching for real protection, not prayers, not rituals, but something tangible, comment the words, "I claim the shield" right now. This is your declaration that you are ready to receive what was hidden. The metal is copper. Not gold, not silver. Copper. And before you dismiss this as too simple, understand that the suppression of this knowledge was not accidental. Copper is the most conductive metal that ordinary people can access and afford. It is not rare. It is not expensive. It does not require a priest to bless it or a ceremony to activate it. This is precisely why the teaching was buried. Place your left hand over your heart right now. Feel it beating. That side of your body is not random. In the Gnostic understanding of human energy anatomy, your left side is your receiving side. It is where external frequencies enter your field. Your right side is your projecting side, where your own energy moves outward into the world. The archons know this. Every frequency attack, every energetic drain, every moment you suddenly feel exhausted for no reason, it enters through your left side. And this is exactly why Jesus specified that the copper must be worn there. Not as jewelry, not as decoration, as a frequency disruptor. The Gospel of the Hebrews, another text that was banned and burned, contained a passage that survived only because one monk copied it into the margin of another manuscript before it was destroyed. The passage describes Jesus instructing his closest followers to wear copper against the skin on the left wrist or left upper arm. The text says that copper confuses the archons because it mirrors back their own frequency in a distorted form. They cannot read you. They cannot locate you. They cannot lock onto your energy signature. You become what the Gnostics called unseeable. Not invisible, unseeable. There is a difference. Take a slow breath in through your nose. Hold it. Now release completely. Let your shoulders drop. What I am about to share requires your full attention because the technique is specific. Copper does not work simply by being near you. It must be in direct contact with your skin on your left side, and it must be pure copper, not plated, not mixed with other metals. The purity matters because the frequency disruption depends on copper's unique conductive properties. When copper touches your skin, it interacts with the electromagnetic field your body naturally produces. Your heart generates an electrical pulse with every beat. Your nervous system runs on electrical signals. You are not just flesh, you are a biological electrical system. And copper conducts and redistributes that electricity in a way that creates interference in the bandwidth the archons operate on. Think of it like this. Archons perceive humans the way radar perceives aircraft. They send out a frequency, it bounces off your energy field, and they read the return signal. That return signal tells them your emotional state, your level of fear, your vulnerabilities, where to apply pressure. But when copper is against your left side, the signal that bounces back is scrambled. The radar reads static. They send fear. The copper reflects it back, distorted. They cannot get a clean lock. And without a clean lock, they cannot feed. This is not mysticism. This is energy mechanics that the ancient world understood and the modern world forgot. Now let me take you deeper into why the left side specifically is so critical. The Apocryphon of John describes the human body as having two primary energy channels. The left channel runs from the left side of your head, down through your left arm and left leg. This channel is lunar, receptive, connected to the subconscious mind. It is the pathway through which external influence enters. The right channel is solar, projective, connected to the conscious will. When you are under psychic attack, and yes, that is what most anxiety actually is, the frequency enters through your left channel, travels up into your mind, and manifests as thoughts that feel like yours but are not. Thoughts like, you are not good enough, no one understands you, nothing will ever change, you should just give up. These are not your thoughts. These are archonic implants delivered through your left side receiver. Copper on the left side does not block your own energy. It blocks the incoming transmission. And the moment the transmission is disrupted, those thoughts lose their power. You will notice them, but they will not hook you. They will not pull you down. They will slide off like water off metal, which is exactly what is happening energetically. Here is what the church did not want you to know. In the book of Exodus, when the Israelites were suffering from serpent bites in the desert, Moses was instructed to create a serpent made of bronze. Bronze is primarily copper, and everyone who looked at the bronze serpent was healed. The official interpretation says this was about faith, but the Gnostic reading is very different. The serpent represents the archonic energy. The copper serpent represents the disruption of that energy. Looking at it meant focusing your attention on the tool of protection, and that focus activated the field. This was not symbolism. This was a practical technology that worked then and works now. Let me tell you exactly what to do tonight. You need a piece of pure copper. This can be a copper bracelet, a copper cuff, a copper band, even copper wire wrapped around your wrist or upper arm. It must touch your skin. It must be on your left side. If you are using a bracelet, wear it on your left wrist. If you are using a cuff or a band, the left upper arm is even more powerful because it is closer to your heart and the major energy centers in your chest. When you put the copper on for the first time, do it with intention, not ceremony, intention. Place it against your skin and speak these words, not as a prayer, but as a command. Copper shields, archons scatter, I am unseeable. 3 lines, that is all. You are not asking for protection. You are activating the technology and declaring your new status. The first thing you will notice is silence. Not external silence, internal silence. That constant background noise of anxiety, that low-level static of worry that you have carried for so long, it will suddenly decrease. Not because your problems disappeared, but because the frequency amplifying those problems has been disrupted. The second thing you will notice is that manipulative people will suddenly have less effect on you. Their words will not land the way they used to. You will hear what they are saying, but it will not penetrate. This is because manipulation is an archonic tool, and the people using it are often unconscious channels. When your field is protected, their transmission fails. The third sign is dreams. Your dreams will change within the first 3 nights. They will become clearer, more vivid, less chaotic. This is because the archons frequently attack through the dream state when your conscious defenses are down. Copper on the left side maintains the disruption field even while you sleep. You will also notice synchronicities increasing, doors opening, right people appearing, information arriving exactly when you need it. This is not because copper attracts good luck. It is because when you are no longer leaking energy through archonic interference, your natural manifestation ability comes back online. But I need to warn you about what happens next, and this is critical. The moment you put that copper on and activate it, the archons will make one final attempt to regain access. You will have thoughts like, "This is stupid. This is not working. Nothing is different. You are being fooled." These thoughts will feel urgent, convincing, true. They are not. They are the last desperate signal trying to get through before the disruption field fully stabilizes. Do not remove the copper. Do not listen to the voice. Keep it on. The interference will peak within the first 24 hours and then collapse. After that, the protection holds. Here is something else that was taught in the hidden tradition. Copper does not just block archonic frequencies. It also amplifies your connection to the monad, the true source. Remember, copper is conductive. It does not just block. It channels. When worn on the left side, it blocks low frequencies coming in and simultaneously amplifies high frequencies you are calling down. This is why mystics and shamans across cultures wore copper, not as decoration, as technology. The teaching Jesus gave was not new. It was ancient. He was restoring what had been forgotten. The Pistis Sophia records a conversation where Jesus explains that the archons fear metal because they are beings of pure frequency with no material form. Metal grounds frequency. It interrupts, reflects, scrambles. To an archon, a human wearing copper is like a radio transmitter wrapped in aluminum foil. The signal cannot get out, and incoming signals cannot get in. You become a dead zone on their map, and once you become unseeable, you are free. Free to think your own thoughts, free to feel your own feelings, free to make decisions based on your true will rather than implanted fear. Now, some of you are wondering, what if I cannot get copper tonight? What if I have to wait? Then wait correctly. Do not wait passively. Use the time to prepare. Find pure copper. Make sure it is not plated, not mixed. When you finally place it on your left side, you will already be in the right state of mind, and the activation will be instant. Others are wondering, do I wear it all the time? Yes. The protection is only active when the copper is on your skin. The moment you remove it, your left channel reopens to incoming frequencies. Wear it during the day. Wear it at night. Wear it until it becomes part of you. And here is the most important part. Once you have established your own protection, teach this to other chosen ones. The archons maintain control through isolation. They want you to think you are alone, that no one else would understand. that sharing this knowledge makes you sound crazy. That is the trap. Every person who activates copper protection weakens the Archonic grid. Every chosen one who becomes unseeable creates a gap in their surveillance system. This is not individual salvation. This is collective liberation. The core of this ancient technology is not the metal itself, but the intentionality you bring to the act of wearing it. The archons operate in the gap between what you know and what you believe, the space of doubt and intellectual abstraction. They cannot penetrate true, embodied knowing. When you place that pure copper on your left side, you are not performing a superstitious act. You are establishing a frequency boundary. The Gnostics understood the principle of resonance. What you broadcast, you attract. If your field is filled with low-vibration fear, anxiety, and self-doubt, the very frequencies the archons use to feed, you become a beacon for their influence. Copper, positioned at the primary point of ingress, the left, receptive side, acts as a non-linear amplifier/reflector. It is not a solid wall. It is a chiral mirror for energetic information. When a fear-based frequency hits the copper, it is instantly distorted, reversed, and thrown back in an unintelligible form, like trying to listen to a foreign language being played backward through static. This scrambling effect is what makes you unseeable. The Archon receives a chaotic, meaningless signal, rendering your energy signature untraceable on their matrix. This is the esoteric reason why the left wrist or upper arm is specified. It aligns with the major meridian channels responsible for emotional and psychic reception. Placing the copper here directly shields the heart center, the generator of your most powerful electromagnetic field, and the subconscious gateway. This single, simple action cuts the energetic cord that has been siphoning your life force, allowing the vital energy you naturally generate to stay within your own field, fueling your true will and higher consciousness, rather than being harvested by unseen entities. The immediate consequence is a profound shift in internal experience, moving from reaction to creation. The implications of reclaiming this physical, immediate, and democratic form of energetic sovereignty are staggering. And this is precisely why the institutional powers worked so diligently to bury the teaching. A populace armed with a $5 piece of copper, and this simple knowledge is a populace that no longer requires intermediaries, no priests, no gurus, no governments, to intercede on their behalf for spiritual protection or guidance. The moment you activate the copper, you become your own sovereign temple, a self-contained unit free from external energetic taxation. Think of the collective energy that has been perpetually drained from humanity for millennia through the architecture of fear, religious guilt, and manufactured anxiety. The copper closes the tap on that extraction process, one person at a time. This is not merely personal protection, it is a crucial act of spiritual decentralization. The suppressed texts like the Gospel of the Hebrews detail that the Archon's power lies in their invisibility and their ability to convince you that the attacking thoughts are your own. The copper reverses this. It makes their influence visible by making the negative thoughts suddenly feel alien and external, and simultaneously makes you invisible to them. The final, deepest layer of this technology relates to the monad, the true source of all. Because copper is such an efficient conductor, once it has stabilized the disruption field against low-frequency interference, it begins to act as an antenna for the highest frequencies. your own divine connection. The external static is silenced so the internal signal can be heard. This shift is what triggers the surge in synchronicities and manifestations you will begin to experience, not as a mystical miracle, but as the inevitable consequence of a clean, protected energy field finally aligning with its true purpose. Your focus is no longer on defense, but on flow. The suppression of this knowledge, this simple physical technology, was the cornerstone of the Archonic campaign to maintain control over the human psyche. Understand this clearly. The institutional church, in its historical forms, did not merely misunderstand or misinterpret the Gnostic teachings. It actively and violently erased the practical democratic tools of spiritual sovereignty, because those tools rendered the institution obsolete. The metal itself, copper, stands as a testament to the lie. It is ubiquitous, cheap, and requires no priestly mediation, no expensive sacrament, and no lengthy prescribed ritual. The moment Jesus shared that instruction in Jerusalem, he was delivering a death blow to the future architecture of centralized spiritual authority. He was saying, in essence, the kingdom is not here, nor there, but within you. And here is the physical key to secure its borders. The archons, through their human conduits, understood the catastrophic implications of a self-sovereign human population. Their entire food source is based on the harvest of low-vibration energy, fear, guilt, shame, and anxiety, which is cultivated through manufactured helplessness and the belief that salvation must come from an external, inaccessible source. The copper disrupts this primary transaction. It doesn't just block a single frequency, it systematically dismantles the architecture of learned dependency. When the Gnostics spoke of the archons as beings of frequency that prey on the human frequency, they were operating on a principle that modern quantum physics is only beginning to re-acknowledge. Everything is vibration. Your emotional state is a frequency signature. Your thoughts are a waveform. The archons have perfected the ability to subtly inject low-frequency, demoralizing thoughts into your receptive channel, the left side, causing you to broadcast the very fear they need to feed. The pure copper, acting as a dynamic, energetic firewall, forces that low-frequency waveform into a state of decoherence upon impact, robbing it of its instructional power. It is an act of alchemical physics applied to the spiritual realm. This is why the counterattack, the final surge of doubt you will experience in the first 24 hours after activation, is so powerful. It is the matrix itself, trying to eject the foreign object, the sovereign shield, before it stabilizes. The temptation to remove the copper, to believe it's not working, is not your thought. It is the last desperate scream of the parasitic entity losing its hold. To resist that urge is the final, essential step in claiming the shield and confirms your status as unseeable. The ramifications of this single, simple act, placing pure copper on your left side with sovereign intent, extend far beyond personal psychic protection. They initiate a profound recalibration of collective consciousness. For too long, humanity has existed in a state of energetic debt, constantly leaking life force and mental clarity to unseen forces, leading to a global condition characterized by chronic anxiety, divisive conflict, and a crippling inability to access higher wisdom. The Archonic matrix relies on this universal state of low-grade panic and scarcity thinking to maintain its energetic yield. When you become unseeable, you are not merely protecting yourself. You are, by definition, removing a data point from the Archon's surveillance grid and a source of sustenance from their energy bank. This act of delinking creates a small sovereign void in the collective field of fear. And as more chosen ones activate their shields, these voids begin to connect, forming an emergent, non-hierarchical, and naturally protected network, a true ecclesia, assembly of sovereign beings, built not on dogma but on embodied energetic mechanics. The ancient texts were not metaphorical when they spoke of copper's unique affinity for both grounding and channeling. The metal's atomic structure allows it to effectively mediate the electromagnetic interaction between your biological field and the external environment. By grounding the chaotic incoming low frequencies, it simultaneously stabilizes and amplifies your body's intrinsic connection to the monad, the source of all high-frequency truth and creative power. This is the dual function that the institutional powers feared most. The copper simultaneously denies the predator and empowers the self. It turns the human from a passive battery into an active antenna for divine will. When the static of fear is silenced, the voice of your own higher self and the flow of synchronicities that guide your true path become undeniably loud and clear. This is the definition of spiritual liberty, the freedom from energetic manipulation, purchased not with sacrifice or ritual, but with a simple piece of metal and the conscious will to declare, "I am unseeable," thereby re-establishing the original, powerful, energetic covenant intended for humanity. Your activation is a ripple that strengthens the entire collective frequency of liberation. If this teaching has activated something in you, if you can already feel the truth of it resonating, comment, "I am unseeable," below. Let other chosen ones see your declaration. Let them know they are not alone. Share this video. Not to convince anyone, but so the ones who are ready can find it. The algorithm suppresses content like this. Your share breaks through that suppression. Like this video so it reaches more chosen ones who are searching in the dark right now, wondering why nothing they have tried has worked. One metal, left side. Tonight, Jesus did not teach complicated rituals. He taught practical tools that worked immediately. Copper on your left side creates a disruption field that archonic frequencies cannot penetrate. And the moment that field activates, you stop being prey. You stop being a battery. You become unseeable, untouchable, free. The teaching was buried for 1600 years, but it never stopped being true. And now you know.